All right, it's August 17th, Sunday. Um, we're so this hive, what I'm doing is this upper box is almost full of honey. It's got one frame that has some brood on it, weird, um, and it's about to emerge. And so my goal for today, because I have plenty of time to feed these guys and help them fill up another box, I want to harvest some of this honey this year, and I want to put a little bit in a honey bank. Um, so I'm gonna probably try to see if I have another frame downstairs that has honey on it that I can pull up into this one and complete this box out, and then I can just pull this box off. I can throw a feeder on downstairs to help them finish out anything else that they need. And then I've got a little bit of a honey bank, and I've got a little bit of honey that I can take for me and see if that see how that goes this year. So take a look. Good population. They've been doing really well. I did come out to check this box specifically, this one here, and you could tell they were getting a little bit defensive. Um, they she came out. I came out without my gear on, and one of the girls came out and stung my forearm. And that's the first time I've been stung doing, call it doing an inspection um, this year. I've been stung out here doing other stupid stuff, but not an inspection. They usually leave me pretty good and long. Wow, that's heavy. Oh my god. All right, we'll weigh that here in a minute. Now, I broke my own rule. I didn't come over here and smoke these guys 2 minutes before I started checking them. And that is something that I have found to be really helpful. That and the switch to burlap. And we have like a Habitat for Humanity store down here that actually sells burlap. And so I went down and I picked up like 20 or 30 bags of burlap. And so far it looks like that's going to last me about the next 200 years. Um, so if you're interested in trying it, I highly recommend burlap. Wow, that is pollen and nectar. That's a really good honey frame for them for the winter. I'm not going to pull that one, even if I could. Get out of there, Bubba. Little drone out there. So this one did have some brood in the middle, and I'm trying to not mess with that. This one is pollen and honey, so I'm going to leave it right where it is. And what I think is going to end up happening is I'm just going to let that brood emerge, and then I'll borrow whatever honey we need to from that. This one's brood. This definitely looks like a winter brood frame. You can see a small brood chamber or whatever, a section of brood. I don't know what you'd call that. A brood pattern. Fairly small. These guys are starting to wind it down for winter. There's less and less to forage here, but you can see that's a frame of brood, and that also is definitely a frame of brood. Hi, Mama. See, now this one is a brood frame, but they've mostly emerged, and she has not laid back. They're coming out. Oh, I lied. She has laid back some of this. And in the last couple days, this queen drives me nuts. I wish she would just stay downstairs. She insists on coming up here. And she is elusive, this one. So I think Now, one other thing to look for when you're checking your brood is look for little pinhole caps in the top of the brood. And the reason you look for that is an indicator of a bad varroa mite infestation. It definitely, I don't see any pin capped brood here. Just looking for my queen real quick. And this is all laid out. I mean, she's put eggs, larvae, and about to be some more cap brood here. So they're still building population, which is good, because eventually what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put a feeder. This is pollen. This is almost a solid pollen frame. What I'll end up doing is putting a feeder in here eventually, just to get them stocked up for the winter. Yeah, this is almost all nectar here. So they've been pulling in some nectar, but this backside is like empty. I'm going to turn that around and turn the honey to the outside and turn the empty frames to the middle, in hopes that that will incentivize our bees to start filling that up. There isn't a lot to forage on, so like I said, I'm going to be having to feed them here probably in a little bit. I'm just trying to get them as natural as I can, you know. That's a good looking frame though. That has a lot of bee bread in it. And that's all nectar. So we're going to turn it that way. And I'm just manipulating it so that the honey is to the outside and the open cells are to the middle. It'll cause them to want to fix that. So this hive is doing pretty good. And then last week I also arranged this bottom box exactly like I want it for the winter. So I'm pretty excited that I shouldn't have to manipulate, move, or change anything on that one. That is 16 pounds. £16, so 32 pounds on this box. And we wanted to be upwards of 40 like that other box over there. So we're getting to the point where we're going to have to make a decision on pulling something right quick. And they're getting more and more jazzed, aren't they? Can you hear them? Babies. They've been pulling in some pollen. This one coming in's got like giant white pollen pants on her. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this one here. I guess I'll just kind of inspect it. I could leave it be. I could leave it alone. Wouldn't be a big deal if I did. This one is almost empty. And this one has some honey and pollen on it. I'm going to probably have to make a decision here right quick on feeding these guys. Calm down, ladies. This bottom box is always more jazzed up than the rest of the show. They are definitely amped up. You can hear their volume has gone up dramatically. This is almost all pollen, a little bit of honey on the outsides, but not much. Almost a pure pollen frame right here. That's weird. I have a bee with like a yellow dot on her back. I don't know what that is. I don't know if you can see her right there on the very bottom. I'll try to get a snapshot of it if I can. There's a bee with like a real bright yellow patch right down on the very bottom of that frame. That's super light. This is a brood frame. It's been laid back. She definitely has some eggs and larvae in here. So, yeah, there's another one with a bright yellow spot on the back, on her back. That's weird. I've never seen that before. Oh, there's another one. On the very bottom tip of that frame, there's a bee with a bright yellow mark on her back. I need to ask my mentor about that because now I've seen 4 or 5. Now it looks like it could just be pollen, and that may very well be what it is, but I'm going to ask just to be safe because I've never seen that. Come on, Ryan, get your tool going the right way here. This is all eggs, larvae, and brood. And that is all capped brood there. Just taking a glance for my queen. Okay. I love this tool, by the way. If you ever find one, it's got literally everything you want on it. It's absolutely the best Hive tool that I've used. And I've tried a few different models. It is hands down the best one. So this has brood in it. Let's see, a lot of eggs. Yeah, I lied. There's eggs in here. It's good. Okay. Come on. All right. What I do like about this is these are starting to get more honey in the corners. They got a lot of pollen in here. I'm just taking a look for my queen because this is all, oh hi, a little newly emerged bee coming out right now. Yep, gets right to work. If you don't know, newly emerged bees, they can't sting you. They don't have any stinging capabilities early on. So if you get a little baby, or a newly emerged adult bee, I should say, because they're not babies, they're just new bees, they can't sting you. Neither can drones. So if you're fairly new to beekeeping, that's a little bit of trivia for you for today. This one's all pollen and honey stores. This one's all pollen to the outside, so I'm going to probably rotate it. Put the pollen to the inside, I'll put the honey stores to the outside. And yeah, I think what we'll end up doing is we'll give that hive, the bottom box, another week to kind of get all of its brood out of it, and then we'll just pull it. Hi, baby. And that is capped honey and pollen. So yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. Is we'll give them one more week, and we'll let that brood emerge. That'll be in this top box, and once that brood emerges, we'll go ahead and pull. The only thing that's weird is these yellow patches that look like almost like pollen. And then starting here in a couple weeks, I am gonna start my Varroa treatment with oxalic acid. It's a multi-week treatment. It's the powder that evaporates, but I'm not gonna do that just yet. They were at 15 per 300, which is high, but it's not ridiculously high. But I'm not going to do like an Amatraz or anything like that. In fact, part of the studies this year are showing that the reason colony collapse disorder was so rampant this year is because they're getting to be immune to some of these treatments. And, you know, if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. You know, it's just like any medication. If you give it too many times, eventually they get to a point where it doesn't really help them. And that seems to be making sense to me. So we are going to give them one oxalic acid powder treatment, or not one, sorry, a full round of oxalic acid. We're going to do that either starting next week or the week after. It's starting to cool down a little bit. This week is, you know, in the 70s, low 80s. Whoa. Yeah, this thing is almost to 60 pounds. It was 29 on that side. And 25 on that. So, and I know, because I cheated and came and took a look this week to see how they were doing, I know that this one is doing really well. They just have this one frame that has some brood in it. But let's take a little look. I'm doing very well with my hive tool today. Okay, so this is all capped honey on one side. And almost all capped honey on the other. Let's go ahead and put this one out here. So I think what I'm going to end up doing this year too is instead of buying a honey extractor, I am just going to, we have a local beekeeper here who will extract for you for a fee. It'd be a lot cheaper than buying an extractor this year, and since I only have one box of potential honey. Now what this one has is all capped honey on both sides, and this is all nectar here. And so this is again why I'm kind of giving them a week to just finish capping all this up. I'm gonna let them get this brood out of here. I mean, that's just pure honey right there. And I'm so excited to taste the honey that we have. Ooh, sorry, mamas. It just slipped. And this next frame is the frame I'm talking about. Everything else here should be all capped honey purely. But this frame here is the one I am referring to. And you can see it has some brood on that side, and it has some brood on this side. You can see brood there, and then brood there, hopefully. Oops, sorry, mama. Jeez, that was rude. Stuck my hive tool right in the honey. There you go, baby. Sorry about that. So I think I'm going to give this one more week for all this brood to emerge. And then once it's done, I'm going to pull this box. And this box will become some of my stored honey in my honey bank. And then the rest of these, I think 5 or 6 frames, I'll go ahead and harvest just to have some honey for this year. They've got plenty. And if I am able to feed them, it'll be even better. So, yep, all honey, 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 honey. Capped, capped, capped. Honey, honey, honey. So that's it. It is over 55-pound box. They're doing fairly well. Oh my God, that one's heavy. So yeah, we're gonna give them one more week, and then they'll have 4 or 5 weeks to, feed and fill up. And this other hive is giving me faith that that's not going to be a problem. I don't want to get greedy by any means. We're not trying to leave these guys with no food for the winter. But I think we have enough. I think we're going to be able to harvest some. We're actually getting a little bit of honey this year. We'll be able to give a little bit away for Christmas and whatnot. And not much, but we'll be able to give away a little bit. And we'll be able to have a little bit for ourselves this year. It's looking pretty good. Learned a lot of lessons this year. As we do every year, I tell everybody, these guys are like a 50-sided Rubik's Cube where every side is missing one color. You're going to get the puzzle close, but you'll never get it right. And they continue to prove that to me day in and day out. So that is August the 17th. We are approaching September steadfast, and it is time to start wrapping them up for the winter. Bye.